just slide off and just say, okay, whatever, it's just idiots online just being stupid. But it really hawks me off when you have to do stuff like slut-shaming. Because even though she isn't the person that you say she is, that, you know, she's a whore or whatever, she's not that person, but even if she was, why are you judging her? Your life is no better than hers.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as I'm concerned, she's a lot better of a person than you are if you have to go around online slut-shaming people.
Yeah.
Fucking grow up.
I personally, I don't give a fuck who you sleep with. I don't care if you're sleeping with 14 different guys or girls, whatever. If you're not a bad person, whatever. Like, do you. Like, what you do behind closed doors is your fucking business to begin with. I don't care how bad of a person you are. It's not my business who you're sleeping with. And to just use terms like, you know, whore, slut, you know, shit like that is just degrading, not just, you know, it's degrading to the person that you're calling, but it's also degrading to people who, I don't know, just enjoy sexual activity. Like, who fucking cares? Human beings are programmed to enjoy sex because it is a reproductive process. That's how it works. Like, I'm not gonna fucking sit here and give you health class on a wrestling podcast, but you're supposed to like sex if you are the type of person who is interested in that sort of stuff. There are people who just simply aren't, too, which is just as fine. Everybody is different. But to, like, stoop to the level of just, like, throwing out names like that, you don't know what this person does behind closed doors. It's like, I'm just gonna do a completely random example. Liv Morgan, NXT. She's the first one who pops into my head. That would be like calling her, or actually the better one is Lana. Lana is outwardly a Christian. Obviously, CJ Perry, her father, is a minister. And she was outwardly talking about how she was remaining celibate until she was married. And it had to do with her faith. And, you know, people who were like, oh, she totally fucked Dolph. She's a fucking skank. You this, that, and the other thing. And it's like, oh my God, okay. So, like, y'all know the difference between storyline and real life, right? Like, if you can't decipher the difference, you need to, for one, not watch professional wrestling. And for two, you need to reevaluate your fucking life when you're, like, throwing stones at another human being. What these people do in their off time when they are not on your television has nothing to fucking do with you. We've talked about fans who step over boundaries a lot in the past because, like, it really is a fan etiquette thing. Like, there is a certain etiquette that you have to maintain, not only as a fan of wrestling, but as a human being. And this sort of shit just rubs me the wrong way. Always. Like, under no circumstances, oh yeah, I mean, okay, it's totally okay because she is a slut. No, like, that has nothing to do with anyone other than the person and the person they are involved with in a sexual manner. Fuck off. Fuck off. Leave it alone.
And if you're sitting there just wanting to call her a whore just because of what she looks like, or the way that she kind of presents herself, I just want you to take a minute and think back. This kind of goes back to last week's discussion where you and Candace were talking about the Trish Stratus thing and comparing the two. She was literally the same way when she came in, and everybody worships her now.
Oh my God. If you wanted to talk about, like, a quote professional wrestling whore and you don't mention Trish Stratus, you're jaded. Because she literally made a career off the TNA thing, the tits and ass thing. Like, she made a career over manipulating men. She made a career over, quote, sleeping around. Like, she fucking, quote, slept with the boss to get ahead. Like, that is, like, the trashiest storylines ever. Trish Stratus probably was, like, quote, involved with more men on the active roster in her time in the WWE than any other woman in the history of professional wrestling. Mm-hmm. But the fact of the matter was, it was storylines. storylines. Like, if you need to Google that, please take a moment, type in storylines into your Google browser and just fucking go for it. Because that is not the person. Trish was in a long-term relationship with a man in which he married her, and they have a child together. That would be like being like, oh, Trish is a slut. She was in a long-term relationship when all of this was happening because it was her job.
Yeah.
I mean...
The funny part, though, is that Eva has never actually had a storyline where she was actually involved with somebody!
No! And it's like... I don't get it. Like, that would have been like calling Layla a whore because she, like, was with Fandango on screen. Or, like, you know... Pretty much like Lita. Like, Lita got the worst of this back when she, like, before she retired.
Oh
like,
God,
she couldn't go fucking anywhere without the whole, like, slut-shaming thing happening. And it was like, yeah, what happened was crappy, and yeah, it was shitty that it was brought into a storyline. God knows, like, how truthful it was. Like, what wasn't jaded with the storyline, what, you know, how things went down, whatever. But, like, slut-shaming is absolutely disgusting. It doesn't matter what you're doing it as. Don't call a woman a slut just because of how she looks. Like, that just panders to the rape culture, and that's bullshit.
And
like,
not only that, it has absolutely nothing to do with her career or what she does in the ring.
No, that's what you should be focusing on, you fucking meathead.
So that fucking pissed me off so bad that I had to bring that up this week.
Yeah, like, the whole slut-shaming thing is just dumb as fuck. Like, whatever. Get over yourselves. And I seen what you were talking about, and that's just fucking ridiculous.
I know.
People are dumb. Speaking of dumb...
Yeah, continue, please.
We can just slide right on in there, and, we're going to talk about our stupid idiot of the week. We're going to talk in extensiveness about our stupid idiot of the week. If you're not a fan of, like, mixed martial arts or the UFC or whatever, this name's probably going to go over your head before this. But Conor McGregor is a mixed martial arts UFC fighter. He claims that he's above the other featherweights, because that's apparently an accomplishment. And this week, I love how, like, we went off the air on Saturday, and by Sunday afternoon, Julie was like, we have our stupid idiot of the week. And I was just like, what the fuck? Because usually by Saturday, we're kind of like, okay, like, who are we gonna use this week? This week, it was just gift wrapped and left on our doorstep. So, Conor, like, you've probably seen a lot, like, if you follow any of the WWE superstars on any social media, specifically on Twitter, he really pissed off the entire roster with some of these bold comments that he made, saying pretty much that the WWE superstars were a bunch of messed up pussies, and that he could, you know, destroy any one of them on any given night and twice on Sundays. And I'm just like, oh my God, I am so embarrassed to be Irish because of you. Like, you are a piece of work. And so, you know, there was a lot of speculation that maybe McGregor was trying to initiate like a storyline or some sort of, like, initiation and whatever into, like, potentially working with the WWE, which that's since been debunked, by the way. Apparently he's not. This has nothing to do with anything at all. It's just McGregor being a mouthpiece, which isn't shocking at all. He made it clear that he's not interested in making a switch. He took a shot at Lesnar, who received 2 potential anti-doping violations. I have a thought about WWE. McGregor said on a call, which, by the way, the fact he can formulate thoughts amazes me. For the most part, I think these guys are pussies, to be honest. They're messed up pussies, if you ask me. Fair play to Brock. He got in and fought, but at the end of the day, he was juiced up to the fucking eyeballs. How can I respect that? The other guy hasn't fought yet, which he meant CM Punk. So I don't know about him yet. Let me just interject my candor a second. And the only reason you don't have an opinion on CM Punk is because CM Punk will literally kick your fucking head off. And he is coming to UFC, so you couldn't escape that. Quote, I didn't mean to disrespect the WWE fans, McGregor wrote on Twitter. What I meant to say was, I'd slap the head off your entire roster and twice on Sundays, end quote. So his follow-up comment didn't, merely spark a reaction from the WWE fans, which the WWE fans were on this guy like fucking ugly on a monkey. Like, they just went ham bone on this dude. And it's hilarious to me because it's like, you're attacking something that people love and you're expecting no repercussion or no backlash at all? Really? How arrogant are you?
Very.
But, yeah, right. So some of the comments that WWE affiliated stars had to say. Ric Flair, quote, coming from a guy who... This one made my day. Quote, coming from a guy who built a career copying my persona, I expected the type of class we'd get from Ronda and Anderson. After Diaz finishes with you, I dare you to try guys like Dolph, Brock, and Fit. Oh, you're welcome for your gimmick, end quote. Kurt Angle was like, very funny little guy. Why don't you get your head out of Dana White's ass? End
I
quote.
love that one because when I read it in his voice.
Yep, same. So MVP was like, the way Nate Diaz stalked and slapped you or not? Roman Reigns was an MVP this week and was like, you're the size of my leg. Shut up. Just the delivery. Shut up. I was a fan of Roman for at least 12 seconds. JBL said, hey, the notorious MMA, if you put some weight on, you might make the WWE Cruiser division. Kofi, yikes, looks like the notorious MMA could use a bowl of Bootios right now. Someone hook him up. And then Chris Jericho, sorry, pal, no disrespect to you, but my fights are legit, unlike the fixed fights you have in UFC. I'll embarrass you. End quote. And then, and then, the boss, all she says to him, bring it. And I'm like, I love you. But, so this, all week, there have been quote after quote after quote, which I'm sitting here absolutely tickled because it just gives me so much life. And honestly, like, to take a stab at people because, like, you're in the same sort of, like, entertainment. I know you wouldn't admit that, but you are quite literally doing the exact same thing these people are doing. The only difference is you actually hit the people that you're with, which, I mean, by all means, if you want to hit dudes and, like, pretend you're a badass, that's all well and good. But you have 2 fights a year if you're lucky. These people wrestle, and I wrestle, which takes a lot more effort than, slugfesting inside of a cage, but who the fuck am I to judge? Mm. These people are on the road 300 days a year, so while you're sitting at your poolside drinking a margarita after your fight, they don't get off days. Even when they're not in the ring, they are promoting, they are traveling, they are working all year round. You don't have to worry about anything like that. Whatever. You have the right to throw stones at people who work 3 times as hard as you do. Yes, I'm sure that your fights are difficult. I'm sure that, getting knocked the fuck out, I'm sure that hurts your ego. But, so today, I was out getting, Chipotle, because I have a problem. So Julie sends me this thing Apparently, McGregor continued his assault on WWE.